And welcome to Talkonomics, where we talk about money and economics. So, what's going on with Bitcoin today? We're going to dive into that as well as what's going on with the total market and take your questions and make sure that everyone's in the know. So, Jerome Powell just got done talking. I was trying to get that in here for y'all, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin chart today. Pull that up. So, as you know, we've slowly been dumping off since our all-time high at about 65 at the peak. We've dumped all the way down to earlier today. We were wicked all the way down to about 28.80, and then we've slowly rebounded. And we've got a couple buy indicators going on here. What I'm seeing for most of the altcoins in the market, that's for the people that don't know, Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano. A lot of people are uncertain about the market right now, and you'll notice that the altcoins dump a lot more than Bitcoin will. And at the end of the day, the major market cap coins are going to be your safer holds for a long term play, especially if you plan on holding for a few years. I'm not saying that Ethereum's not a bad play or Cardano's not a bad play, but the safest play is going to be Bitcoin. So you'll notice that on the we're on the 45-minute chart. We got a buy signal that kicked in here. And we're still on a sell indicator on the 2-hour, 4-hour, and the 12-hour, and definitely on the daily. And taking a look here on the daily, I wanted to point something out here. Down here, you'll notice momentum waves. And as these waves get smaller, you'll notice that we spike up in the green. So as they get smaller, it shows that the sell-off pressure is getting less and less. Draw a little line for you. Oops, that's not a great line. Do it again. Try to get some meat in here. So this line sort of indicates the pressure of the sell-off that's been happening, at least for this small time period that we're covering right here. And if you take a look here up at the chart, we started to valley up right here where it popped over this midline or this mid-white line right here. We started to slump up. So you can sort of track if you use one of these charts or you want to learn how to use these charts, hop in here and I'll help you with it. And you can do, short-term, long-term trading with, learning how to read these charts. But now that we understand that this momentum, large waves, a small wave, led to a wave above the medium line here, we're starting to get another downward wave. And that's where you start to see this red appear on the chart. And there's all sorts of indicators in here, the diamond followed by the red X and a bunch of other things. And that's on the daily. So things aren't looking great on the daily time frame. But when you zoom out, or more like zoom in, I guess, since we're going to the hourly, we're getting a little bounce back. And we're getting another momentum wave up toward the top. Based on the daily time frame, I think we'll still see some more downtime or downside to Bitcoin. But in the meantime, if you want to trade, these ups and downs on the charts, more power to you. I personally am keeping my money on the sidelines, waiting until I definitely can see a turnaround in the market or a decisive direction on which way we're going. If we're going to keep going up or if we keep going down. Based on the daily, it looks like we got another wave down. What I'm looking for on my daily chart is a green dot sort of indicating that we've hit the bottom. And that was supposed to be the bottom right here. If you follow this green dot up, that was supposed to be the bottom here. But unfortunately today, we wicked down a little bit past that, setting a new low. And a lower low in market terms is not always a great sign. That means that you're setting a lower point on the chart than the previous low on the chart, for those that have never seen or heard that term before. I want to take a look at Ethereum on the chart here and compare it to Bitcoin for you. So there's a couple things that make me real nervous about the Ethereum chart compared to the Bitcoin chart. Is the amount of red that we have in here. The red in this area indicates sell-off. At least it does to me. What it means to you might be a different story, but to me it means sell-off. And in Bitcoin, it's seems like it's decreasing, which is good. We still have our momentum waves going down. We might get some more swings, some more sideways action. Totally fine. I'm happy with that. It's cool. It is what it is. But at the same time, if there is not a lot of selling pressure, we're probably not going to go down a lot further. But if you take a look here at Ethereum, this selling pressure is starting to form a nice red line where we had our time with Bitcoin. Pull that up. We had our time with Bitcoin where we slowly started up over here, and it's slowly gotten more pronounced. And eventually, just like we can draw the lines, we can sort of determine, when this thing's going to end. Just based on maybe drawing a couple lines here, what you think this pattern's going to look like. And we want it to really turn back green, like this area back here. And with Ethereum, we're just now starting to get our red in. So it's really, really hard to tell where this is going to be, what it's going to look like. We need a little bit more time to determine if it's going to, what type of shape it's going to form. These momentum waves are getting real, real big on the downside. I'd love to see a green dot down here confirming that we've hit the bottom on the daily. But on the 6 hour, these we got a dot confirming the bottom here, which is nice to see. But these sell-offs in the red are pretty big. And if I were a betting man, which I am, I would be moving into Bitcoin from Ethereum. I would be waiting for a direction to be determined for Ethereum because Ethereum lags behind Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the tide that raises all boats. So if Bitcoin starts to go back up, you can bet your bottom dollar that Ethereum will follow a little bit later. But if you have confidence in the market and you think that this isn't over, for those that understand, monetary policy and inflation fears, and Bretton Woods and all that jazz, you might want to look at some inflation hedges. Not financial advice, but I think there's a lot of interesting aspects of crypto offers that aren't offered in traditional markets. And for the longest time, oops, let's get this little indicator off here. I'll draw a little smiley face. For the longest time, companies haven't had a great place to put their money. So a lot of them have been buying back their own stocks because they could count on the stock market going up, and them holding their own stocks would help them appreciate in value because they were holding a majority of it. And I believe, if my memory serves me right, stock buybacks became legal back in 2008 through a loophole. I don't think they were always legal. But companies have been buying and buying their stocks because they haven't had a better place to put their money. What makes me real nervous is companies like MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, for those that don't know, are starting to sell their shares off in order to buy Bitcoin. And if the majority of the US market top companies are all holding their own stock and they have found a better place to put it with better returns on their investment, because maybe their stock yielded 14, 15, 20% growth year over year, and that's why they did it. But if Bitcoin has a return on growth of 300% every 3 years, plus you can drop it in an account and get staking rewards on it with no withdrawal penalties or lockup periods at 6 or 7%, it's a no-brainer. And I'm fearful that companies will start selling off their own stocks in order to hold digital assets that appreciate at a much quicker pace. And I think we're entering an exponential growth era in the markets. Only time will tell, but definitely don't think that Bitcoin's going anywhere. Yes, the China thing, the China FUD, the having mining operations cease to exist there because they're making it difficult for people to cash in with their banks and do business with the mining companies. That's a weak link in the system. And honestly, that's a weak link in every system. If anybody wanted to stop transactions in currency, they fix the weakest link being the banks. But once we are able to set up something that's decentralized, that allows you to spend crypto on a day-to-day basis, I really don't see much use for banks anymore. But those are just my 2 cents, and or 2 satoshis, as some like to say. But this is Talkonomics, and if you enjoyed our content, go ahead and join our Discord in the links below. And we're going to try to start producing more content daily, and appreciate your support. Remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much.